Hey everyone, what's up? So I have been learning Spanish for about a year now, maybe just over, I'm not really sure. And I'm going to make videos on how, my own method, how I did it, porque mi habilidad hablar en español es más o menos, and I'm going to visit Ecuador in September. So I want to become really fluent. It's going to be to help me become fluent, but also to help other people to learn how to learn language, because especially in America, Spanish is like really American, and a lot of people are speaking it, so I think more people should learn how to do it, and that's why I'm making this video. Okay, so the way I started was with the sounds, the speech patterns. I started learning Spanish on a physical level. It's a physical activity. Being able to use a language is a physical thing. So if you want to learn how to speak a second language, you have to start with the sounds, the phonology, and just become comfortable with it. So I started with the rolled R sound, which my entire life I've never been able to make, and I've always wanted to be able to make it. And so I spent 1 or 2 months just practicing that sound, and I got it after like 2 months of practicing, and now I can do it very easily. It's really helpful to, if you do have it, to practice doing it in a whisper, because it's more difficult to do it softly, and that helps you really master it. And then after that I bought Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in Spanish, and after learning all the rules and studying the phonology. So phonology is important. That's where your tongue goes in your mouth to produce certain sounds, how you form your mouth around it. And if you Google or YouTube the phonology of this language or the phonology of that language, that will help you to distinguish between your native tongue's phonology and your new language phonology, and that will give you the start of developing an accent. Because if you speak your new language with using the sounds of your native language, you're not really speaking the language. So if you speak Spanish with an American accent, you're speaking English with Spanish words, which isn't Spanish. So that's like the first hurdle to overcome, because even after you develop the accent, your tongue isn't necessarily going to be good at producing it. So I sat down and I would read Harry Potter in Spanish out loud for 15 minutes every night, and my tongue would get tired. So that was a great way to practice developing the musculature I needed in order to speak Spanish. Because if you're struggling on the physical side of the equation to speak the language, you're not going to learn anything mentally. It's a hurdle that you do not need to struggle with when studying the language itself, right? And that makes it's fun, it's lighthearted, because you're not really thinking through anything so much as to how to make the sounds with your mouth. It's a very easy, low-key way to start learning, and it's kind of funny, and you can do it with other people. Yeah, that is really kind of step number 1, because that's as lightly involved you can become with the language, and that makes it easy, right? Because the starting of the language is like the most difficult part, and once you have a good accent, it doesn't need to be a perfect accent. You can have like a regional accent from one country, or if you want to, my Spanish accent is just a generalized Latin American accent, because most people I know who speak Spanish are from Latin America. As long as it's within as long as it's recognizable to other Spanish speakers as being an accent from that language, that's all you need. You don't need to go beyond that. Just develop like an awareness of general differences within different accents, so that you're aware of like kind of where you fall in the spectrum, so that you not only have a good accent, but you know what kind of accent you have. So I love rolling my R's. They roll out very easily for me now, and that's not all people roll their R's. Like in Peru, for example, I don't think they really roll their R's. So someone wouldn't listen to me speak and be like, oh, I think you're from this country. You know, just like a general awareness of what kind of accent you have is going to be good, because that's going to help you integrate into conversation with people more, because you just want to be able to recognize those kind of things, and that alone will be like the first 2, 3, 4 months of learning the new language. It's just focusing on the sounds, the phonology, developing the musculature, and developing confidence and feeling comfortable with the words coming out of your mouth and getting it into the same part of your brain as English is stored, because the language is going to be stored in the same part of your brain as well. And that's how I started. And I speak pretty good Spanish now, so it's worth giving a try, especially with Spanish. If you're American, like, it's delicious. And that's it. Okay, bye.